Welcome to Captivating and Marvelous. I'm Joe, and let's get into the video. With Absolute Superman number 17 less than 2 months away, the inclusion of Absolute Captain Marvel, or at least Black Adam, is well within sight. Because of that, I want to write my own idea of what a Captain Marvel story could look like in the Absolute Universe. This isn't a prediction at all of what's to come, but a fun exercise to see what direction the Captain Marvel characters could have had. Hope you guys enjoy my thoughts, but would love to hear how you would do the Captain Marvel characters in the Absolute Universe. Would love to hear below. Before I hop into the premise, I want to set up how you can picture the world. Imagine the 2000s Cartoon Network era, shows like Samurai Jack, The Powerpuff Girls, and Dexter's Laboratory, with transforming sequences inspired by Ben 10. Since this would be a comic, think about the paneling and layout of a One Piece chapter. I also have my own hand-drawn illustrations throughout the video to help you guys see the world too. Now, let's get into the premise. We open near a subway station. It's Fawcett City's metro. A young boy is outside advertising with flyers. Passersby see the boy and either ignore him or tell him to get out of the way. Their eyes are shut to him, while his eyes are wide open. Then an old man in a trench coat stops near the boy. The boy shudders and looks away. The old man asks, with wide eyes and a chilling voice, why the boy is giving out flyers. The boy shrinks away and says it's for his Little League team. The old man looms over him for a moment before passing away. The boy breathes a sigh of relief, then notices a $20 bill in his bucket. The boy looks down and shouts, "Thanks, mister!" The old man gives a cheery wave. We follow the boy throughout the morning in Fawcett, where students are looking at their phones. Adam brand. Texting, playing games, recording stories, watching videos. We see children and teens with eyes trained on their phones as a fire rages around them. The boy is so wrapped up in his phone that he and the kids around him miss the fire growing hotter and hotter until the alarms of a fire truck ring. The kids begin to panic and yell that they wish Superman was there. The boy looks at the clouds as he hears a clear voice say, "A Superman, eh? What do you say? Can you make me super, Shazam?" A bolt of lightning strikes as the fire truck pulls up. The lead firefighter hops out, a shiny white grin on his face as he faces the cameras and reassures them that Captain Tweedle, the fiend to all arson, has this covered. Then a blur of red, gold, and white flashes past the captain, knocking him off his feet. As the firefighter obsesses over his fallen hat, the children's phones aim toward a blurred figure and they wonder if it was a bird, a plane, or Superman himself. But all are wrong. The figure grabs those in danger from the fire, safely putting them down, lastly grabbing the boy from earlier and setting him down. The boy goes to thank him, but is scared when he gets a good look at him. A grinning man clad in red, a glowing thunderbolt stretched across his chest, and plumes of white like clouds issuing from his person. The boy looks mouth agape, both in awe as much as fear. With a chuckle, the figure zooms around the fire in a whirlwind, sucking away the oxygen and fleeing the scene. Meanwhile, Captain Tweedle has been obsessed with his hat having fallen off and gets even more angry realizing his moment to shine was thwarted. We go to two teen boys watching a short of a woman named Minnie speaking. We don't hear the woman, but we hear the boys' reactions. They talk out their fantasies of if the beautiful model were to meet the red figure. They hope she's in the next fire he puts out. Suddenly, they feel the gaze of the old man from earlier. They jump and skedaddle away from his gaze. He sighs, stepping up to his motorhome and unlocking the door. Inside, it's mostly neat and clean, with some pictures tacked to a wall of himself and a woman around his age. He closes his eyes as he thinks of his wife. A pop surges from somewhere in the van, the front seat. In the driver's seat is a genie-like creature with a grin like the heroes from earlier. It's like a living thunderbolt, zooming around the room, yet not causing any physical danger. He soon becomes an arrow pointing for them to be off. The old man looks at his wife's picture one more time, then drives away. We move to teens shoving their faces with hot chips as they leave a store, annoyed with the owner for throwing them out at the noise of their B and Joe album playing. They wish the store would just go up in flames, throwing one of the flaming chip bags down on the ground. The owner angrily shouts at them, eyes scrunched up while the kids sneer. Meanwhile, an RV pulls in front of the store while a fire truck passes by in the background. The kids catch sight of the old man and start yelling obscenities, but then shudder, seeing a cloud hanging over his head. The old man rolls down the window to check on the store owner, an old friend, Whitey Murphy. As they talk, the spirit connected to the old man follows the fire engine. It stopped, but he spots Captain Tweedle a few blocks away. The spirit trails him behind the mall, where there are gas cans. Tweedle looks around, then strikes a match with a smile and drops it into the canisters. This'll show the big red freak. The spirit zooms away. Murphy asks what the old man's listening to. It's Dr. Savannah's waiting room. He asks if that's for kids. The old man answers that we're all children at heart. Before they can go on, the spirit returns as fire engine alarms ring. The old man gets the message and cuts the conversation short. We see Tweedle putting on a big smile for the cameras as his team rescues people. The old man is near again, a frown on his face, while the spirit's grin widens, nodding toward a live showing of a helicopter, stating there's children trapped in a dinosaur-themed playroom. The spirit looks at the man and he looks back and nods. What do you say? Make me a dinosaur, Shazam? Inside, children in a playpen hear cries from outside. They're scared, calling for their parents, but the smiling face of Captain Tweedle appears not far away. Yet the flames have gotten too strong. He can't reach them. His smile falters slightly, but he reassures them the fire won't hurt too much. Then, crash! A blood-red pterodactyl with a grin and lightning symbol on its chest. Tweedle runs away in fear, abandoning the kids as they scream. The kids cry, but the dinosaur uses its mighty lungs to blow away the fire. He bends down for the kids to climb onto. Outside, we find Tweedle preparing to tell the watching audience of the kid's sad demise, yet before he can finish, a mighty roar sounds and he jumps as the red pterodactyl stomps out, carrying all the children on his back. Parents tearfully receive their kids and the red dinosaur nods, leaving an angry glare with a terrified Tweedle as he flies away. We join Tweedle at the firehouse, where the other firefighters are celebrating the red dinosaur. George Tweedle is angry, however. He yearns for the adulation of others. A radio plays nearby with the voice of Dr. Savannah encouraging humility over selfish ambition. Tweedle scoffs at this. He'll prove himself the hero, even greater than the big red freak. He stares at a burning match as, in the corner, a paradevil creeps eerily closer. The old man listens to Dr. Savannah's waiting room, where a child is getting support from his mom to go to the doctor to get help. He doesn't want to go, but she reassures him Dr. Savannah is a good doctor. The old man nods along, agreeing, while the spirit stares down the firehouse. The spirit breathes in and out heavily, still grinning. Guardian, he says, starting the RV. Let's go meet the captain. The captain creeps away from the firehouse quickly, like a leaping flame bouncing deeper and deeper in the city. The old man follows from a distance, while the guardian spots the creeping figure of Envy with him. They find themselves in an area populated with children, and Captain Tweedle burns with desire to be seen. The kids point their cameras at him as the envious spirit whispers into his ear. His skin begins to boil before he bursts into a conflagration surrounding the school. Within, the boy who the old man gave $20 is near. As the old man stops close by, the boy notices him step onto the street with a cloud overhead. Meanwhile, the children cry out for rain. Guardian, the old man says as the guardian leans into the cloud overhead like a slingshot. What do you say? Make me able to bend water, Shazam? The guardian launches forward, striking into the man as he drops his cane, his heart beating fast before changing rhythms entirely to become a waterbender. Using the fire hydrant near him, he brings the deluge toward the raging fire, a shape-shifting flame devil begging to be seen. As he nears the children, the waterbender wraps his stream around the living flame. The two bow it out before the red waterbender dominates, whispering one word to the living flame: repent. With another flash of lightning, the guardian ejects from the old man's body, ripping away the envy paradevil from George Tweedle's body. The paradevil is wiped away by the guardian's hands as the old man leaves one last glare at Tweedle, huddled by flames. The old man slips away, only noticed by the child from earlier. He winks at the boy. Following, the real heroes arrive. The firefighters quench the fire. The police arrest Tweedle, who reveals his plot in many fires in the past. He's finally recorded for the figure he is, an arson fiend. The football player / media mogul known for being a flame to hate Stanley the Cursed Print Whistle releases a live video condemning the captain's actions. We track away to the motorhome where the old man sits staring at photos of his wife. His marriage certificate is shown. William Joseph Batson and Sissy Sarai Sommerly. He then looks at his only photo with his parents as a baby. He wonders if they'd be proud of who their little Billy Batson has become. His heart acts up and he clutches his chest. Then he stares at the guardian grinning beside him, thinks of the 3 lightning strikes that day and notes how that was pushing himself in his old age. He wonders if maybe one strike will transform him to be with Sissy one day. He both longs and dreads this. He and the guardian stare at each other as Dr. Savannah speaks over the radio into the night. He may not understand the guardian or kid's obsession with the atom phones, the unusual model Mini, the rapper B&Joe, Tawny's torch and chips, or celebrities full of themselves like the curse. But at least he understands there's still genuine kindness in the good doctor and his show, Dr. Savannah's Waiting Room. We follow a meeting in which 5 figures gather together. They gather enthroned-like chairs around a table. Gathering above them are paradevils, discussing the failings of the fire paradevil. The first human is Charles Langley, the creator of Atom, the most popular phone in the world. Then Minnie, a model with a dedicated young male following. Then Stanley the Cursed Print Whistle, football player and anti-bullying advocate. B&Joe, a rapper beloved by many teens for his depressing lyrics. And Mr. Ogar, the creator of many junk foods including Tawny's torching chips. The paradevils are 6 of the 7 deadly paradevils: sloth, lust, greed, wrath, gluttony, and envy. The humans' talk parallels the paradevils above, condemning the captain and wondering who exercised the paradevil. Marvelous. That's what the news is calling all the transformations that showed up. All one? Both groups wonder where their leaders are. The 7 paradevils look for pride. The Council of Eternity looks toward a radio, where the voice of Dr. Savannah echoes forth.
Whew, that was a lot, but that was needed to set up the world that our absolute marvelous will be living in. Hope you noticed the title was Goodbye Captain, referencing both George Tweedle's revoked position and that Billy Batson won't be known as the captain, both referencing DC's current title for him and the first story arc, Meet the Captain, and the last Shazam ongoing series. Speaking of Billy,
this summer's gonna be an adventure for your taste buds.
it's not an original idea that this Billy would be older than his prime counterpart. However, I want to flip the idea of Billy as a disciple learning from his master, the Wizard. Here, he looks a lot like the Wizard with long gray hair and an outfit similar to the 70s Shazam Uncle Dudley. His special features are his open, wide eyes, odd in this style where most adults' eyes are closed. There's no wizard, so Billy fills the role of the one guiding the Avatar. I imagine him to have a visual intensity like that of Gandalf or Samson from House of David. Thus, kids are often scared of him, yet I imagine his voice to sound like Paul Eading's Max Tennyson.
I believe you, Ben.
Think he's gonna stay a monster forever?
He's not a monster. He's an alien. I mean, look at him.
William Joseph Batson was born to Cece, a radio host, and Marilyn Batson, a teacher. They died when he was young, only a few years old. He doesn't remember much about that, but remembers what his parents always said.
Be good and good will follow. That's what my parents used to always tell me.
So, he did good and trusted good to follow. But, like his biblical namesake, Joseph, and his desire for integrity, he often faced consequences. As a child, he was sent to his uncle, Sinclair Batson, who took his inheritance but shooed him away. It was like that with his foster families. The Brownfields, the Vasquezes, all the families. Often he'd witness abuses in the homes, tell the authorities, but only be despised by the families now split. This followed him into work. He always wanted to be a radio host, like his dad, whose old shows he'd listen to through cassettes. His father hosted on Christian networks, telling biblical stories, encouraging his faith and integrity. So he pursued a job with his dad's old radio station, Station Wiz. Though the best job he could get was as a janitor, Mr. Fidelity was the station owner and the two had a strong relationship. Billy was going to be offered more responsibility, but Mr. Fidelity's wife, Helen, started interacting with Billy without Fidelity. He refused to go along and told Mr. Fidelity, but wasn't believed. Instead, he was fired. He went on to be good, expecting good to follow as a gardener, painter, construction worker, but his employer's shady handlings meant his integrity was punished. He was shafted from jobs and homes alike until finally settling in as a plumber and living in a motor van. It wasn't all bad though. He had his church, Ebenezer Baptist Church. From job recommendations to couches offered in free rooms, he always found help with Ebenezer. It was here, at 57, he met his wife, Sissy Sommerly, soon Sissy Batson. The two were too far along in years for children, but delighted in being one flesh. Like him, she did good, even when silence seemed the safer option. They were a testimony in the making. But tragedy struck, a lightning bolt in fact. Stepping outside the RV, Sissy was hit and struck dead. Billy had done good, and it seemed it only resulted in tragedy. 7 good years of 64 total. Now our story takes place 1 year after her death. With all the suffering dark sides interwoven, God's hand seems far, until the Guardian appears. While designing this absolute Captain Marvel, I realized I was instantly making an absolute Johnny Thunder in a way, but we'll see that more when we get to Black Adam. Now it's time to talk about the spirit known as Shazam. Something I feel like is often overlooked with Captain Marvel is why it was created. Wish fulfillment. If there's 2 themes that could describe DC's Captain Marvel, I would say wish fulfillment and creativity. The creation of Billy Batson satisfied the idea of becoming the coolest hero in the 40s, Superman. But now, nearly 9 decades later, there's been so many other cool heroes. To keep Billy's wish fulfillment confined to Superman feels like missed opportunity. So, what's a perfect way to capture the wish fulfillment of becoming any superhero that kids crave? How do you unlock that creative power in a story that is fighting against despair? I started brainstorming and thinking, Genie, or fairy godparents, like Wanda and Cosmo, a way for Billy to become anything children desire. But this had to connect with elements of Captain Marvel mythos. Jeff Smith's Shazam Monster Society people imagine him as a djinn. Let's imagine him likewise as a spirit made of lightning. We find the spirit trapped in a lamp. The outer case of the lamp reads Shazam. We don't know how the spirit got there, but Billy comes across him when he goes to a donation center to give away things reminding him too much of Sissy. Too many things that remind him of life. As the items are sorted, Billy explores the shop. Billy chuckles to himself, thinking how silly it'd be if those letters spelled something, like the figures of lore he loved reading about. Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury. A holdup at the storefront catches his attention. He wanted to turn a blind eye, considering all this good got him. But he couldn't do it. Still thinking of the legends, he mouthed, "What do you say to make me strong enough to stop this guy?" Shazam! Krakoom! Lightning ejects from the lamp and crashes into him, causing a commotion, and a conflict ensues, revealing Billy has a younger body and vulnerability and strength. He takes them down. But when he notices his new physique and speaks in awe, the spirit and Billy notice each other. Comedy ensues.
Nah, I was just seeing if you were paying attention.
This Captain Marvel has no elders, thus the spirit's abilities derive from his own abilities, like Mixie-Expedalic and the imagination of his partner. Here's where the Johnny Thunder parallel comes in. Billy can't understand the spirit, and if he calls him Shazam, he'll transform. Thus, he begins calling him Guardian Angel, or the Guardian for short. This is because the Guardian is prone to protect children, like the angels who protect children in Matthew 18, verse 10. This also points to how the Guardian interacts with humanity. He is particularly angry at those who pose a threat to children. Yet he's always grinning because he's always visible to children and wants to make them smile, even as he's punishing evil. Billy isn't sure of the Guardian's true origin, why he was trapped and placed in a donation site. He potentially influenced the couriers of the lamp itself to end up there and connect with one who cares for the innocent and vulnerable. Billy can't understand the Guardian. He finds the smile unnerving, yet he sees some of himself in the spirit. Much righteous anger, but anger left unchecked that could destroy more than heal. And the spirit seems righteous and responds affirmatively to the name of Jesus Christ. So he decides to live, to be good, and ensure good will follow by bringing the wrath of God to evil spirits and giving humans the chance to repent.
Shazam!
Billy's transformation to Marvelous is triggered by the Guardian striking Billy as a lightning bolt. As Marvelous, like in original Captain Marvel comics, Billy is not in control. The Guardian directs, but under the influence of Billy's morality. Still, the Guardian is zealous for the blood of the wicked, so the longer he stays in control, the looser Billy's grip is, meaning shorter transformations are better. Through the lightning striking him, Billy can become anything as Marvelous. Anything. This allows for dynamic transformations like Ben 10. His other drawbacks are that he can't change forms when he transforms, but must de-transform to shift forms. Because of Billy's advanced age and his body not technically being immune to lightning, he could die struck too many times in one day, something Billy both fears and longs for because of the way Sissy passed. One last weakness of the Guardian is that, by nature being a guardian of children, he can't hurt any children. Adults and spirits are at his mercy, but he can never hurt a child. The Guardian's origins are shrouded in mystery, but we'll explore a potential idea when we get to later villains. Shazam, or the Guardian, is a combination of Snap from Chalk Zone with the lightning body of Johnny Thunder's lightning bolt and the grin/cloud of Gearfit the Luffy. His grin and blood red skin and coating is consistent across all forms. His cloud hanging overhead serves like a halo or crown, like Cosmo and Wanda. He also has the laugh of a classic Captain Marvel villain as his only means of communicating.
Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Dr. Savannah is easily Captain Marvel's best supervillain. Mr. Mind might have the iconic society, Black Adam equal might, but Dr. Savannah is pure mad scientist who desires to conquer through science, which contrasts so well with Billy's magical mind. Where Billy is powered by childlike imagination, Savannah has the crushing power of scientific rationality, so it was a no-brainer to have him be the main villain against Billy. To have him parallel Billy, who in the 40s and 50s was a radio broadcaster adored and trusted by kids, had Savannah fill the role as a corruption of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. He hosts a radio program / TV show called Dr. Savannah's Waiting Room. It's composed of skits, wisdom, and practical knowledge on health and well-being. It is available for free via TV or radios. His catchphrase of "Won't you be my patient" is known around the world, and he holds the title of the world's sincerest scientist. In contrast to the true Mr. Rogers, who was a sincere Christian and loving neighbor, Dr. Savannah's public portrayal is a mask. Savannah isn't even his true name. He's a German psychologist who changed his name to be more appealing to a global audience. He moves in the vein of Sigmund Freud, John Money, and Alfred Kinsey, public accepted but doing horrible psychological experiments to children in the shadows. He wants the minds of children. He knows that children are the future, and he wants a future where they are modeled in his image. Billy is a major fan of Dr. Savannah, believes him to be one of the few people caring for children left in the world. In Wiz Comics #2, Savannah hijacked the radio waves for ransom, but was thwarted by Captain Marvel. In the Absolute Universe, Savannah is the most adored voice on the airwave, even by Billy. The Good Doctor in turn speaks of Marvelous as a fun distraction for kids, playfully giving him the nickname Big Red Cheese for his distinctive smile and skin. Yet, in time, when he privately sees the threat that Marvelous is causing, he decides to make his threat known publicly. He writes a book, Seduction of the Vulnerable. It details how Marvelous brings out the worst of children's natures. Their imaginations run wild, they act with more awareness of each other, they think more than they ought to. Visually, I aim to make him a warped version of Mr. Rogers with Doflamingo-like sunglasses to emphasize the hidden nature behind his kind demeanor. I hear his voice to be like the other father from Coraline.
Hello, Coraline. Want to hear my new song?
He also has Reed Richards as graying temples, showing that he's more fatherly than grandfatherly. We'll return to that idea of being a father later. For now, let's explore his consortium of youth influencers bent on dominating the minds of children, the Council of Eternity.
I chose a new hero.
Who?
Why, you, of course.
The Council of Eternity is a group of leading figures able to powerfully impact and win the minds of youth. It was Dr. Savannah who assembled the group together so that the children will be rightly shepherded the way the Council wants them to go. Where the Council of Eternity in the main universe chose the champion of Shazam, here they choose children to be controlled. Let's go through the list. Keep in mind, many of these are meant to be corruptions of their real-world counterparts, not indictments unless otherwise stated. Let's start with the Green Flame himself. Ibak the Accursed is an old Captain Marvel villain. His earliest parallel, a weak man called Stanley Stinky Purtwhistle, who, by a contract with the devil, is empowered by conquerors in the past. Ivan the Terrible, Caesarea Borgia, Attila the Hun, and Caligula. By saying Ibak, he is transformed to a powerful man through green flames. The classic Ibak is empowered by tyrants and likewise bullies, though is a weak man by nature. Absolute Stanley Purtwhistle contrasts this by naturally being a famous athlete, either a wrestler or football player with the charisma of John Cena. He is widely known for standing against bullying through his motto, a match for hate. He references back to his classic form through his professional epithet, the Curse, for how he publicly battles hate. In the shadows, however, he profits off of hate through his partnership with fellow council members like Charles Langley, whose phone allows bullying, and B&Joe, whose music promotes violence. But so long as he seems like the good guy can tell children that bullies won't succeed, he gets money and adoration. I imagine him to visually look like All Might with shadowed, masculine features and elements of John Cena's wrestling attire. He would likely be the first to cross Marvelous's path after the Arson Fiend, but through a lower demon of the Paradevil Creed would allow Marvelous to show his strength.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Don't you think you should make the call?
Auntie Minerva was conceived as a dainty old woman, but don't let her appearance fool you. She was a deadly crime boss and an even more deadly spouse, always looking for a husband, whether he remained alive or not. With the Absolute Universe placing villains in advantageous positions, I imagine Minerva to be empowered with the beauty of Miss Bellum from the Powerpuff Girls. Rather than being a woman whose beauty accentuated her true love and care, Minerva's beauty contrasts her shallowness and thirst for attention. Here, she's a model with a large male following, whose public desirability encourages young girls to believe their sex appeal is empowering and what makes them valuable. Following Marvelous's clash with Ibak, Minerva serves to show the purity and self-control of Marvelous against Minerva's agent of lust.
And the professor responds, "That's no hydroxylion, that's my wife!"
Charles Langley is a bit of a non-character in the world of Captain Marvel. He's usually the creator of Mr. Atom, a robot able to stand toe-to-toe with the Captain, and his story usually ends with demise after Atom's creation. In the Absolute Universe, I reimagine him as the Steve Jobs-like creator of the Apple parallel of this world, Atom. Atom is a smartphone that everyone uses and is constantly absorbed with. After Savannah, he may be the most important member of the council, as children have access to all through his phones. And there's the AI feature of each Atom phone, Mr. Atom. This Siri-like feature grants the user access to a human-like voice who answers their every question so they don't have to. But this technology came at a cost. Langley is smart but not intelligent enough to create the Mr. Atom program on his own. But there was a child who was, Cole. Cole was brilliant from a young age, and Langley found him at 6, recruited him to Atom, and kept him locked in the basement, so to speak, to take ideas from. More on Cole soon. When Marvelous comes across Langley, I'm excited for a Rock'em Sock'em robot-like fight where a minion of Sloth forms a robot, Mr. Atom, to fight a mechanized Marvelous. I picture Langley to look like an older Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory, with the physique and attire of Captain Marvel.
Okay. This be getting serious, you guys are delirious. Are you hearing this? Talking about positive things, but you ain't got no game.
Mr. Banjo is a more or less obscure World War II era Captain Marvel villain, defined by playing the banjo in a deadly way and siding with the Axis. That's about it. But he came to mind for me in creating the Absolute Council because he's related to entertainment, and kids are disciples of what they listen to. Thus, I first imagined him as a pop singer but thought it was more contemporary if he was a rapper. And a mixture of NBA Youngboy and Rod Wave, he raps about violence and depression, proving popular to kids in his relatability, especially his rage. He often states to those who irritate him, "Don't make me show you what the BN stands for." Publicly, it's short for Big News Joe, but privately, he'll show you otherwise. When Marvelous faces a rapper inspired by B and Joe, the rapper is transformed by the influence of a spirit under wrath, and Marvelous finds himself under the weight of literal words, but finds a way to beat him up with no words at all. A fun tidbit, Banjo is covered with tattoos, but his most prominent is the banjo running from his neck to his chest.
I'll do anything to test new Cheetos Go Snacks. Put this on, Judgy. Oh. For crush proofidity.
Ogar, the world's mightiest immortal, is one of my favorite, albeit goofiest, villains in Captain Marvel's rogues. He used to be part of the Wizard's Elders, Shazamo, Shazamo. Ogar proved to be one of Marvel's most powerful enemies, wielding genie-like magic. For his absolute version, he follows other Marvel rogues, becoming a Mr., the creator and founder of the Frito-Lay equivalent, Mr. Ogars. Like Dr. Savannah, it's a fake name, but one that has allowed him to create numerous junk foods. The creation of these junk foods came about through testing them on animals. In doing so, Ogar and his subjects were able to see what kids would get most addicted to. The animals subjected to tests weren't left unscathed, many were left far different. Those unable to go back to the wild without suspicion were kept in a hidden zoo. Some were trained to protect said zoo. Some were used as the mascots for some of Mr. Ogar's snacks. Marvelous discovers this zoo, encountering one of the guards, Mr. Tawny, who also happens to be the mascot of the universe's hot chips. More will be elaborated on Mr. Tawny, but Marvelous and Mr. Tawny's fight transitions away from one another to battling an underling of the Paradevil Gluttony.
Deep within a bleak and dismal swamp, hidden beneath its murky waters, lies the headquarters of the most sinister villains of all time.
So, there's the council. While the other absolute heroes are being targeted by individuals of a cabal, Billy and the Guardians are facing a cabal of powerful figures all on his own. But you may have noticed that there was another faction at play with each of the members of the council, the Paradevils.
What sin best befits you, Father?
The 7 deadly sins have been a part of Captain Marvel's lore from his very first appearance in Wiz Comics #2. They represent the worst enemy that plagues humanity, sins. Interestingly, imprisoned yet still exerting influence in the world. Throughout Captain Marvel's time, the 7 deadly sins have remained an ever-looming threat, sometimes a serious problem, to scary, to a planetary threat. But oftentimes they're just relegated to that, a looming threat. In the Absolute Universe, I wanted them to be something different. Here, they're the 7 deadly paradevils of men. They keep their nature as sin, but being of dark side are now parademons or paradevils who hold sway over humanity. They're active agents, encouraging the worst of humanity through whispers and possessions, but they're spiritual agents, visible to few but active around all. I imagine their dynamic to be like that of the demons in the Screwtape Letters. Our Father below would represent Darkseid, whose presence permeates this world. Pride, greed, envy, wrath, sloth, lust, and gluttony are high-ranking or commander paradevils. They report directly to Darkseid himself. Below them are lower-ranking paradevils who, as Screwtape ranks above Wormwood, so the 7 paradevils rank above or lower as it's a lowerarchy, the other paradevils who report to him. Though pride, being the root of all sin, is closest to Darkseid, holding more power and authority than all the others. In contrast to the 7 deadly sins, parademons are typically non-threats. They're just minions to be disposed of. Here, they're agents who act invisibly until they possess men. Think about the ways evils come about in Generator Rex. How Hawkmoth sends moths to create villains in Miraculous Ladybug. The paradevils possess vulnerable people, becoming visible monsters to the naked eye. With the 7 deadly sins now active, this leaves the 7 virtues of man, who are often left far to the wayside, if ever remembered at all. However, in the Absolute Universe, it's suspected that they are now the ones oppressed by the 7 paradevils. The 7 guardians of man are dispersed, unable to come together, as the sins are united. As G.K. Chesterton said, the virtues have gone mad because they have been isolated from each other and are wandering alone. Thus, some scientists care for truth, and their truth is pitiless. Thus, some humanitarians only care for pity, and their pity, I'm sorry to say, is often untruthful. We gleam an eye into the guardian, who may be one of these virtues gone mad because he's been isolated from his brothers and has been wandering alone. And as he and Billy combat the manifestation of paradevils, he worries that this will only cause the paradevils to further segregate him and his brethren. At first, it's unclear if all of the Council of Eternity knows the paradevils are at play. Savannah seems most aware, but the paradevils are very aware. They aid the Council's work, and later the Council will be shown that they are aware of the evil aiding them. They were just feigning to not be aware of the evil around them, but they knew. Evil always knows. So we see what Marvelous is up against. The Council of Eternity below, and the 7 paradevils above. The world is against Billy and the Guardian. Is there anyone for him?
I will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me.
With Billy mobile through his motorhome and set on protecting kids, he gathers many enemies, but also a sort of family along the way. Like Whitebeard, though he's an older single man, he becomes a father to those without homes. And similar to Whitebeard, they're his family, but to the world, it shows something much more sinister. Society's monsters.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
The first of the society is Dudley H. Dudley, aka Double D. In the main continuity, he's an older man without powers, but pretends to be a member of the Marvel family as Uncle Marvel. He most often acted as a comedy relief. In the Absolute Universe, with the emphasis on children, I re-envision Dudley as a teen sidekick, similar to Snapper Carr or Rick Jones. Here, he's hip to the times and shows relatability to the kids in the world. He became Marvelous's biggest fan after the hero saved him. Soon, he would be the leader of a broadcast channel which follows Marvelous in his exploits. Many often think he may be Marvelous, which he denies, but instead calls himself Nephew Marvelous, a la Nephew Tommy. I'm imagining many of the narrations or cold openings could be voiced over by Dudley or Double D, similar to how Billy Batson would do the same in the Golden Age. Due to his close following of Marvelous, Double D soon becomes a target of the Council of Eternity. So he later joins Billy and the Guardian in their cross-country journey. He acts as a naive but optimistic counterpoint to Billy's grizzled faith and the Guardian's unhinged perspective. Also, due to the nature of Billy and the Guardian's relationship, Double D, like Timmy Turner, acts as a suggestion for Marvelous's transformation. Visually, I'm picturing Dudley to have an attire similar to Rex from Generator Rex, an annoying but charming personality like Snapper Carr, and a simple face like Greg Heffley. The next of Society's monsters is usually a king, but it'll just be his latter's name here.
Oh, come on! I'm actually getting somewhere here! Oh well.
King Cole is a super intelligent caveman who used to be king of the Submen. He's one of my favorite Captain Marvel villains for how he has both the strength to match Captain Marvel and the intelligence to compete with Dr. Savannah. I want to follow in the vein of other Absolute books that had villains reimagined as allies, like Killer Croc and Cheetah, so here's Cole. If you remember from earlier, Charles Langley is the founder of Atom, but not all of his ideas were his own. They were Cole's. At 6 years old, Cole stopped being a child but was instead an idea machine. His parents were paid well for his services while Cole was kept in a basement. Cole attempted to escape several times, but Langley's Atom men stopped that every time. With each failed attempt, Cole was locked up with more integration within the Atom HQ. Through his tech, Cole got to witness other children grow up, but never experience it himself. He would attempt to communicate through the Mr. Atom program, but the messages never succeeded. After years and years, Cole had given up that he'd ever see natural light again. Then came Billy and the Guardian. They discovered Cole and sought to free him. Cole believed they'd never get past the Atom bots, but they did. He didn't think Marvelous could beat the giant Mr. Atom, but he did. Cole finally felt the sun on his face since he was 6 years old. Cole's body was too integrated into the building to be separated, so he pulls a Frankie and creates a body for himself from tech around him. He even uses a machine to transfer his brain into the android, becoming a sort of absolute cyborg, and like Al from Full Metal Alchemist, no longer having his full humanity, but free at last. Now he's designed a body where he can be strong and protect himself and others. He makes a hat modeled after the last gift of his parents, cool glasses and hair like Kuma from One Piece, and a strong build like Biffy from Detention Air. And like Biffy, he becomes Marvelous's guy in the chair, able to keep the RV off the grid and equip the motorhome with cool weapons. And like Biffy, he also really likes cats.
I'll get it.
It is I, Mr. Mind, super intelligent worm destined to crush your...
Billy, it's for you!
Mr. Talkie-Tawny is usually an anthropomorphic talking tiger, often sporting a spiffy business suit. Like Dudley, his appeal was more based on humor, but he's grown to be a consistent member of the Marvel family. Inspired by Grodd's redesign from Absolute Flash, I decided Tawny would be more pet-like too. In this world, he's a cat whose ogre company tested their snacks on. He changed. Sometimes he retained his feline appearance, but gained the ability to talk and transform to a Sphinx-like creature. Ogar loved this result and decided to name him Mr. Tawny and make his small form a mascot for his chips. Further, he saw his large form as an advantage for protecting the zoo and made him a lead enforcer. This would put him across Marvelous's path as Billy investigates the disgusting foods fattening children and ruining their health. The two fight, and we get a cool Hercules versus Nemean lion type fight, but Marvelous realizes the tiger-like creature is fighting under duress and helps to free him. The two escape, and Billy makes it a point to work with Cole and Mr. Tawny to create a cure. When the two reach his RV, Marvelous and company find out Tawny can talk and he's quite sarcastic. He respects Billy and the Guardian a lot, is very comfortable with Cole but incredibly annoyed by Double D. Design-wise, I see his cat form sounding like the cat from Coraline.
I just can.
And his body being a tiger-striped version of Cat from Kid vs. Cat. His Sphinx form would have a head based on the Imakandi from Samurai Jack with a tiger body and wings. Also, like Donkey Kong, he has a tie with his initials on it. So that's it for Billy's Society of Monsters, where the monsters were once the enemies, now they are family. And family is now the enemy, the Savannah family.
Oh, goody! A present! What?
Dr. Savannah has historically had a family made up of his 2 sons and 2 daughters. Sometimes 2 are evil while 2 are good. Sometimes all are evil. Sometimes 1 to 3 of them are missing. With Dr. Savannah now inhabiting Billy's role, he will once again have a family, but it'll be Billy's family. Quick defense of the new Marvel family. Along with Mary and Freddy, I love Darla, Pedro, and Eugene. There's so much potential with them, and I'm currently not a fan of depowering 3 of them, but to me, does nothing to progress the characters further. Back to the revision. With Savannah now being loved the world over, it makes the most sense to me to also have him be a father of children from the nations. But it's not Jesse. They aren't allowed to just be themselves, but have experienced both the worst of their countries and the worst psychological treatment to make them compliant. Like the delightful children from down the lane, they dress the same, talk the same, and act the same, modeled this way by Mrs. Savannah. Like Charles Langley, Mrs. Savannah in the past has often been a non-character. You know she exists because Savannah's children exist, and that's about it. But here I wanted to play an active role, a mother-like role to the children, an other mother-like role. If you haven't noticed, this world has a lot of Coraline influences because that movie shows the dangers of kids being corrupted well, and it's really good. I imagine Mrs. Savannah to be dressed well, like Daphne Blake, and to dress her children likewise. She, like the other mother, has her eyes replaced with buttons or something to always suggest shining eyes. She shows herself to be as psychologically brutal as her husband. She aids him in manipulating the children under their care to act, look, and speak the way she does. At some point in the series, Billy and his fellow monsters discover the truth of Dr. Savannah. This breaks his heart, as he really wants to believe in the Doctor's persona. So at some point they confront him, but even then, Dr. Savannah proves his own intelligence. He knows Billy's weakness and has equipped his children to be possessed and act as shields to protect him. Marvelous can't attack children, but they can attack him. I picture their transformed states delivering minions of set-like beating on Marvelous, where he only escapes because of his fellow monsters. So this is the Savannah family, but there's one more addition who stands on the precipice of light and dark, good and evil, Dr. Savannah's very own mighty Adam.
I was not expecting a child, but you are marked by the wizard's energy.
A pitch within a pitch. Dr. Savannah is in his 40s and knows his work can't continue only by him. Like the wizard Shazam, he's looking for a successor, so he presents a Willy Wonka-like competition to find one. One prospective person is Malik White, who in the main continuity is a new character and descendant of Black Adam, who's inherited his power. Like his main counterpart, Malik will be a med student. He wants to be the next Dr. Savannah, so he submits an application but doubts he'll win. And he does win an audience, and even after being compared to the qualified counterparts, he's exactly what Dr. Savannah's been looking for. Malik is ecstatic, not knowing that this was all Dr. Savannah's plan to create his own Marvelous.
Now you'll witness true ultimate power.
Whether created via cloning or a virtue who's been deceived, Dr. Savannah finds a counterpoint to Marvelous who is likewise able to connect with a human and transform. The spirit is actually the one who desired Malik. Malik's guardian is the reverse of Billy's. He's white with a permanent scowl, with his torso extended from a thundercloud like a false god, and clouds acting like a unibrow around his head. So the two create a bond. Malik and the spirit become Magnificus. He's the albedo to Marvelous's Ben 10, the Venom to his Peter Parker. As with the other enforcers in the Absolute line, like Bane and Hawkman, he seems to have a moral reason for what he does, but sides with evil. Magnificus, rather than becoming the dreams of children, becomes their nightmares. He delivers judgments rather than warnings. He believes himself to be good and Marvelous evil. Thus the two spirits highly contrast, while Malik and Billy are more willing to talk. But Malik struggles to trust Billy's account of Savannah really being evil. This sets up Malik both being an enforcer of the Council of Eternity to counter Billy and the Guardian, while potentially being an ally like Kevin 11. He even proves himself one better as Magnificus by being able to transform from transformation to transformation like Aku. This puts Marvelous at a serious disadvantage, as Billy needs to expel his Guardian and then call him back to change, further hindering him because his age makes too many changes dangerous. Visually, this is where the Johnny Thunder comparison comes back into play. Malik is based on Jakeem Thunder from Kingdom Come and Spider-Verse Miles with his puffer. He also has two-tone hair, one side white and the other left, to show that his morality is ambiguous and he can go either way. I like Black Adam overall, but prefer him to be a villain to Captain Marvel. But to capture the essence of Black Adam, as Absolute Books aim to capture DC's character's essence, he has the potential to be an anti-hero. And with all that said, that about wraps up my reimaginings of the Captain Marvel staple of characters. There's definitely more I could have gone into, but I want to close with how Absolutely Marvelous can interact with the rest of the Absolute Books. This will be a spree round since I've been going on for a while. For Superman, I could see Billy and the Guardian coming across him also saving children. Kal-El may actually find Billy similar to the Kents with his advanced age and be glad for someone who could hold their own against him without also trying to kill him. I imagine them having a grandfather-grandson relationship like Max and Ben Tennyson. The coolest interaction I see with Batman is Billy imitating Bruce's form, while Billy encourages Batman's desire for integrity and lets him know it's worth it. I could also see Batman saving Marvelous from some possessed kids, as Billy may be unable to hurt kids, but Bruce shows he can be motivated. As I think about Marvelous and Wonder Woman, I think this team up has the potential to be the most contentious, and that they are very similar in the belief in humans changing, but radically different in their views on spirits. Billy is a Christian and believes spirits don't change, especially not devils. There's no negotiating with them except to excise them. Wonder Woman has shown herself to let even evil spirits like Harbinger Prime be set loose, something Billy and the Guardian would never do. I imagine their team up revolving around an evil spirit. Marvelous aims to destroy, but Diana aims to redeem. The result leads to them making team ups a rarity. Marvelous would have a lot of fun imitating Wally, and maybe Wally finds solace in finally meeting someone who can match his pace. They'd probably run afoul of a Paradevil and destroy it. I'm not sure how exactly Marvelous would interact with Evergreen, but I could see him and Joe using their imaginative abilities to rescue kids nearby kidnapped by Paradevils. A team up between John Jones, the Martian, Billy, and the Guardian could be very fun, and that the two humans can relate to having a non-physical entity constantly observing them and making their lives interesting. This could probably be the first time Billy ever hears from the Guardian, because the Martian would be able to transmit their thoughts to one another. Whew, what a video. Thank you so much if you made it this far. I deeply appreciate you engaging for so long and hope you found something enjoyable from the video. I love Captain Marvel and am cautiously optimistic for what Jason Aaron is doing with the Shazam characters. But I know it's not Billy's series, and I've loved Absolute Superman up to this point. This was just my ramblings about what an Absolute Captain Marvel book could look like given Billy's varied history. Hope you enjoyed. God bless and happy reading, and happy Lenten. Yeah, so this is my postscript where I talk outside of the essay that I ended up writing for this video. I didn't expect it to be this long, and yeah, it's crazy. But I'm really glad I got all my thoughts out, and I hope you enjoyed both the visuals I made and yeah, just how the video came together. Please provide any feedback, criticism, need all of that. I was thinking for future videos, something much shorter, but probably in the more distant future would be just my favorite panels from Absolute Batman and Superman. Those are Absolute books I keep up with the most. The question I have is, what was the most interesting change in this bitch for you? How would you do an Absolute Captain Marvel story based on what you know about the Shazam characters? What did you disagree with? What did you really agree with? What surprised you? Billy flipped to have more experience here was something I really enjoyed, like, because usually the premise is that Billy is a kid, so he doesn't have as much experience as his foes, but here he has a lot more, so it's dope. And then I was thinking that if Billy, or if this needed a different title because of Absolutely Marvelous and Marvel, it could also be called Absolutely Captivating, just in case. There we still get that kind of like captain, but not captain. Yeah, I'm planning on making more videos on Captain Marvel history. That's my favorite superhero, what the channel is named after. Yeah, that'll probably happen in a while. I'll explain after this next idea. I also have an idea for a Marvel family, like Captain Marvel and his family ongoing series, incorporating the extended Vasquez family, which I love and adore and can talk about more in another video. But yeah, this video might feel strange by the end with less videos and stuff because I'm currently observing Lent. Lent is a time where Christians count the 40 days before Resurrection Sunday when Jesus rose from the dead. And for Lent, I decided to give up consuming fiction. So this meant I wasn't even recording videos, only grabbing images. So that, yeah, it's good. I'm grateful for this. And I'm really glad I got to get a bunch of videos before participating in Lent. That way I didn't go against my own conscience. But yeah, this has been a long video, so thank you if you've made it through. Please let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I just love Captain Marvel, and clearly I have way too many ideas. So have a good one. Once again, God bless you, God bless your reading, and happy Lenten.